Okay, welcome to gas laws. I'm going to link a couple of these videos for you guys to watch. It kind of give you an overview of how gases interact. This chapter will kind of lead on from what we were talking about last chapter with states of matter, but we're obviously going to focus more on how gases behave and some calculations with gases. Okay, hey, look at this. Looks like we're back at school, right? Okay, so what I want you to do is I would love for you to make a flashcard or make flashcards with some of the information on here. So, for example, if you notice up here, this is an equation, all right? PV equals nRT. And I'm showing you this from the very beginning because we're going to use this stuff throughout the whole chapter. This is kind of like the chapter summary all in one, all right? So P is your pressure, and these are your options for pressure. It can be in kilopascals, ATM, millimeters of mercury, or torr, okay? And then these are the corresponding numbers that go along with it as well. Liters can also be, it's L for volume. And then here we have it at STP, it's 22.4 liters equals 1 mole, which I think we talked about in the mole chapter when we were doing the whole mole flow chart and we had the different things. We should have had volume for one of those, and that's the 22.4 liters equals 1 mole. All right. N stands for number of moles. R is a constant, and the way you derive the constant is these 3 steps over here, which not super important, but basically you take this equation and you get it to equal R. So R is going to be the pressure at 1 ATM, so that's what's down here. The volume is 22.4. The number of moles is 1. And then the temperature at STP, temperature is 273 Kelvin, and you can see that up here as well. In this chapter, we're not going to use Celsius at all. We're just going to use Kelvin, all right? So if you do the math for all of this, you end up with the constant, which is 0.0821 ATM times liters divided by moles times Kelvin, all right? So that's one number with 4 units, and that's what R is. Okay, so R is always going to be that number right there. So I would just memorize that R is that number. Okay, so what are your flashcards going to be? All right, so let's take a look at this. We need to know this equation, PV equals nRT. We need to know these are the pressure options. This is what volume is. This is what N equals. And this is what the temperature is. Okay, so those are the things you'll need to know. Now, for now, just make this, make a copy of this, write it down so that you always have it with you so you can refer to it while we're going through the chapter. Okay, another thing that's really important on this page is this down here, where I have PV equals nRT over PV equals nRT. And you can see the top one has a bunch of 1s and the bottom one has a bunch of 2s. And that's because the top one is the initial, so it's initial. The bottom one is your final. Okay, and we'll talk more about that when we get into it. All right?